This is Steve Robbins. Welcome to the Get It Done Guys, quick and dirty tips to work less and do more. If you're a manager, you'll find a lot of your job is giving presentations. Status presentations, market presentations, project presentations, analysis presentations, proposal presentations, training presentations, presentations to those above you, presentations to your colleagues, presentations to clients, to your teams, presentations everywhere. It takes a lot of work to develop that many presentations, and if you present, you know how much time and effort goes into a good presentation. If you're going to put in that much effort, you want to get the most out of it. Some presentations, like status presentations, are very much about a specific moment in time. Those must be created from scratch, and when they're done, they're done. But other presentations, sales, analysis, proposals, training, client, can be reused either in their entirety or you can use them as a starting point for other presentations further on down the line. If your presentations rely on slides, and we can talk about that decision in a future podcast, you can carefully design them to be sneakily reusable. Use a consistent look and feel for all of your presentations. Give all of them a consistent look and feel, and that means a color scheme, a font choice, and a layout. Most presentation software provides templates for different slides so that everything within a presentation goes together. A slide that has a bullet list on it will go together with a slide that has a picture and a caption, and it will all be designed by the presentation software so you don't have to worry about it. If everything is consistent, then when you change or add a slide, you don't need to worry about the formatting. The formatting magically matches the rest of the presentation. But here's the trick. Don't just stop at one presentation. Do them all. Choose the same theme for everything, the same colors, fonts, layouts for all of your presentations. This way you can easily cut and paste slides from one presentation to another. You won't need to reformat them or tweak them to get them to match. They'll already match. So combining material from multiple presentations will be a snap. In fact, there's no reason to stop at copying single slides between presentations. Sometimes presentations share entire topics. For example, one of my favorite productivity techniques is speed dating your tasks. Speed dating belongs in both the work less and do more speech and in the how to beat procrastination speech. Do this by thinking of reusability from the moment you create the module. Don't include client names, dates, or anything that would tie the module to a single presentation. Then reuse the entire module in a new presentation, lickety-split. Just copy it, paste it, lock, stock, and barrel, and boom. You know what? You can even create title screens for each module, and that way it makes it easy to add to any presentation that has separate sections. You just cut and paste the entire section at once. And do not personalize your presentations for your audience. Don't put the client's name in the headers and footers of presentations. I used to. I put a client's name in the footer of every slide. Haha, guess what happened? I went to reuse the same presentation for a different client, and one or two of the slides I forgot to change the footer. Big oops. But audiences do like to feel special. So customize your title screen out the wazoo. Put the client's name, the name of the event where you're presenting, the date, a subtitle that mentions the CEO of their company as the most brilliant, amazing, insightful, competent leader in all of human history. They'll be so dazzled by the title screen that they won't even notice the complete absence of their CEO's name from the rest of the slide deck. Some presentations need to use company-specific information. If you're presenting to your zombie army on the conditions at the front, that's not a presentation you're going to reuse. Pretty much everything you say is going to be specific to that situation. But it's different for sales presentations and trainings and classes and customer presentations. These may be totally reusable or comprised of reusable modules. For those, when you're choosing examples, choose timeless examples that aren't specific to any client or time period. Imagine giving a presentation on how to be a better leader. If you say, Bill Gates is a great example of a prominent technology CEO, your example will be just a little bit dated now that Bill is mainly a philanthropist. So instead, make up an example. Consider Ashley Moneybags, a prominent technology CEO. Ashley is fictional and combines the traits that we know make a good technology CEO. And then you go on and you give exactly the same presentation, but using Ashley as an example, and that example will always work. Interestingly, you will find that audiences will go right along with fictional examples as long as they have the relevant information. In the same vein, avoid using topical news stories if you can. News has a way of changing. Today's gigantic success story is tomorrow's scandal of corruption and deception. This is especially true in business and political topics where fortunes come and go overnight. One day, you're holding up Imaginary Co. as an example of a company led by ethical values. Ha ha, then the news breaks that Imaginary Co. just helped topple a foreign democratically elected government in order to get more favorable tax policies. Whoops. That presentation on Lessons on Doing Good from Imaginary Co. has just changed from an ethical roadmap to a handbook for Machiavellian propaganda. It's not coincidence that my podcast examples often use imaginary characters working in a slightly surreal plant store. My fictional examples can be honed to show off exactly the point I'm trying to make. The examples are vivid enough to be memorable, and they're not tied to any real place or people. So years from now, the tips and examples will be as relevant as they are now. And speaking of years, anytime your presentation includes a date, you've dated your presentation. Kind of by definition. If your copyright says 2002, your audience will believe they're getting a tired, stale presentation. But if you give exactly the same presentation, and the copyright date is this year, they'll think you've descended directly from Mount Olympus to pass on the nectar of the gods. Some presentation software lets you insert a dynamic date field into a presentation, and that's a field which will always display as the current date or year. If your software can do this, make your copyright date and any other dates mentioned like that be a date field instead of plain unchanging text, so your presentation always seems fresh and new. Communicating is a huge part of a manager's job. The more audiences you have, the greater the chances that you can reuse some of your material between different audiences. Give your slides and presentations a consistent style, and you can easily reuse slides and modules between presentations. Keep your examples specific yet generic, and avoid anything that will tie the presentation to a specific date. Pretty soon, you'll be able to mix and match existing materials to get a head start on anything you need to present. I'm Steve Robbins. If you need to clear the clutter in your office, home, or life, check out GetItDoneGroups.com to learn how Get It Done Groups can help you restore order and regain control. Work less, do more, and have a great life.